Sia has worked with the biggest bold-faced names in the business, from Beyonce to Katy Perry. And yet, when it comes to her own hits, the singer makes some awfully unconventional choices.
Will you be in my next 2 videos and be my muse and do everything with me? And I was like, yeah. Like, I was 11. Like, I was like, yes.
I can't do a project without her. I don't want to. I wouldn't make art if it didn't include her.
Elastic Heart, Sia's most controversial music video to date.
Why is he wrestling with a little girl?
I don't want to be famous or recognizable. I don't want to be critiqued about the way that I look on the internet. You know, I was at Target the other day buying a hose and nobody recognized me and my song was on the radio. And I thought, okay, this experiment is working.
You know, usually when a pop star teams up with a dancer, it's for like 1 music video, maybe 2. But in 2014, Sia introduced the world to Maddie Ziegler in the Chandelier music video and then never let her go. And I mean that literally. Maddie went from being a child star on Dance Moms to being the face of Sia's entire artistic brand. Music videos, live performances, award shows, short films, you name it, Maddie was there. And if Sia was there, Maddie was probably standing awkwardly in a blonde wig right behind her. It was almost like Sia had outsourced her entire career to this one child dancer, which raises the question, was this a brilliant creative decision or was it something else entirely? Because over time, this collaboration went from iconic to confusing to eventually controversial. Let's go back to 2014. At this point, Maddie Ziegler was famous, but in a very specific niche. She was a breakout star from Dance Moms, Abby Lee Miller's chaotic dance reality show.
You're a hypocrite!
Maddie was clearly talented. Even people who didn't watch the show knew she was Abby Lee's favorite.
You need to be my #1 girl out there every week again. Do you understand that?
Yeah. But she wasn't exactly a household name. She was still that girl from Lifetime.
Oh my God! What is mentally wrong with you?
Enter Sia. By 2014, Sia was an established songwriter. She had written songs for Rihanna, Beyonce, and Katy Perry. But as a solo artist, she wanted something different. She didn't want to be a traditional pop star with her face everywhere. In fact, she wanted the opposite. She hated fame, hated the spotlight, and came up with the idea of hiding her face behind a wig.
Nobody would be following me with a camera, trying to get the shot.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
Which sounds cool in theory, except then you have a problem. If you won't show your face, how do you create visuals for your music? Sia's solution was Maddie.
And she was like, will you be in my next 2 videos and be my muse and do everything with me?
The music video for Chandelier was Sia's gamble and Maddie was her avatar. Instead of Sia appearing on screen, we got this haunting dance performance by an 11-year-old in a nude leotard and a blonde bob wig. It was weird, it was uncomfortable, and it was genius. The music video went viral, like 500 million views on YouTube viral. Maddie instantly went from reality TV kid to the face of one of the biggest pop videos of the decade. Now, normally, that would have been it. Maddie does her job, delivers a career-defining performance, and then goes back to Dance Moms, but Sia had other plans. Instead of just one video, Sia decided Maddie would be the face of all her visuals. Elastic Heart, Big Girls Cry, Cheap Thrills, The Greatest, and many other music videos. It became so consistent that people stopped asking, is Maddie in this one? And started asking, where's Maddie if she wasn't? She wasn't just featured, she was the default.
I literally thought I was going to be a background dancer and there would be other girls in the video too.
Yeah. And I thought Sia would be in the video.
Right.
And then it was like, just me, and I was
Just
like,
you.
feel the pressure, wow.
And it didn't stop at music videos. Maddie performed with Sia at award shows, on late night TV, and even joined her on tour. Anytime you saw Sia's name, Maddie was attached to it.
Even when we went on our world tour, like, she stood on the side of the stage, and I was like, I had the whole stage to dance, which is just like so crazy that she did that.
And that's when the partnership shifted into something else. This wasn't just a collaboration anymore, it was branding. Maddie wasn't just Maddie Ziegler, she was mini Sia. She wore the wigs, she embodied the emotions, she became the public face of Sia's music. Honestly, it was brilliant marketing because Sia got to keep her privacy and Maddie got skyrocketed into fame. But it also raised questions. Was Maddie an artistic partner or just a child Sia could hide behind? Now, here's where things get complicated. Maddie was still a literal child when all of this started. She was 11 in Chandelier, 12 in Elastic Heart, 13 in Big Girls Cry, and the performances Sia gave her were not kid-friendly. Take Elastic Heart for example, Maddie in the wig again, dancing in a cage with a grown man.
Why is he wrestling with a little girl?
I've never danced with a much older guy like that before. Every time between takes, they would come and say, you need to be more aggressive. You need to bite him harder. You need to slap him harder. And I'm like, I can't. I don't want to slap someone. That's like scary.
It was supposed to symbolize Sia's internal struggle, but for a lot of viewers, it just looked wrong. The backlash was immediate. People accused the video of being inappropriate, and Sia had to issue a public apology on Twitter. But that was just one moment in a larger pattern. Maddie was often put in situations where she was tasked with embodying Sia's trauma, addiction, pain, mental health struggles, and while that might have been cathartic for Sia, Maddie herself wasn't necessarily equipped for it. She has spoken about it since, saying she sometimes felt uncomfortable or did not fully understand what she was presenting, but at the time she was just a kid. She probably did not feel like she could say no. If the music videos and performances were questionable, Sia's 2021 film was the point where the whole Sia-Maddie partnership went from a little weird to, oh no, is this actually bad?
Oh no. Oh no.
So here's the backstory. Music was supposed to be Sia's big passion project. She had been working on it for years. The film was about a young nonverbal autistic girl navigating life after her grandmother dies with the help of her half-sister. On paper, this sounds like a touching indie drama, but in execution, it was not that at all. Sia, of course, cast Maddie, who is not autistic, as the lead. This decision alone sparked outrage, and for good reason. There are plenty of autistic actors who could have played the role authentically, but Sia didn't even consider them. Instead, she defaulted to Maddie like she always did.
Music? We're about to have a pool party!
The movie was a PR disaster. Sia tried to defend herself on Twitter, but ended up making things even worse by snapping at autistic people who criticized the film. Eventually, she apologized, but the damage was done. For Maddie, this was the worst case scenario. She wasn't just caught in a controversy, she was the face of it. And the sad part, she never wanted to be there in the first place. She was pushed into it because of Sia's obsession with making Maddie the center of all of her art, even when she wasn't the right fit.
I could see something was wrong with her. She was pale and she was just unlike herself. And I'd known her since she was 11 and she was 14 now. And I was like, honey, what's wrong? Is there something wrong? And she just burst into tears and she just said, I don't want anyone to think that I'm making fun of them. And I was like, oh, honey, like, I won't let that happen.
So at this point, it wasn't just a quirky artist-muse partnership anymore. It was exploitation, plain and simple. At the end of the day, Sia's obsession with Maddie boils down to one thing: control. Maddie was the perfect stand-in. She was insanely talented. She was young enough to mold into whatever Sia wanted, and she gave Sia the freedom to stay hidden. But that's the problem. Maddie wasn't a blank canvas. She was a real person growing up in the middle of all this, and while it gave Sia some of her most iconic work, it also blurred the line between collaboration and exploitation. So why was Sia so obsessed with Maddie? Because Maddie was the embodiment of Sia's brand. The blonde wig, the tortured choreography, the emotional storytelling, it was all Maddie, and Sia built her entire identity around it. But unfortunately, the cost was that Maddie never really got to just be Maddie. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this one. And as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Was this just an innocent artist-muse relationship that spiraled out of control? Or was Maddie put in situations she never should have been in from the first start? Let me know your thoughts. And with that being said, thank you for being here, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon.